kind of top 2 in the men's, but almost top 3 with Loris in third place, and definitely top 3 in the women's.
Yeah.
All to play for like one error, one mistake, or one massive issue in a wet finals. Like it could be this week in Leger. Could change the overall for anyone.
Could throw it all open.
Yeah.
What does it take? Like what does this track reward? Is it like an aggressive approach, a patient approach? Like how would you describe how to put together a good race run on that Leger track?
The first word you used, aggressive.
Yeah.
So you look at Amory last year, aggressive in finals. You look at Valley won Q1, Q2. She won qualifying in semis last year.
Yeah.
Dakota won qualifying in semis last year, and they just smashed it kind of pretty much top to bottom. You know, they weren't off pace anywhere. There's nowhere to lose. There's nowhere you can lose time and make it back. You have to be on it everywhere. So an aggressive run, like we saw with Amory in finals, he was just aggressive. He was offline, but he was aggressive everywhere in those crazy conditions, exactly like Tane as well.
Yeah.
Like before she crashed, she was probably 6 seconds up on Eleonora Farina, and would have been the guts of 20 seconds faster than 5th place, if not more, by the finish line. But if some buts, she crashed, you know. But that was that aggressive approach that Tane took, the aggressive approach that Amory took, and it paid off huge for him. And the aggressive approach that a lot of riders took all week long, and then you have like the fast, aggressive, but not quite, like Andy Kolb's run last year, for example.
Yeah,
he was measured in the wet where he needed to be, but I think in the dry it would have been a full gas effort. So.
Yeah, and he's pretty good at an aggressive run normally. So
yeah. So that's the kind of approach, top to bottom. You just set the tone at the top and just get after it. You know.
Yeah. And conditions wise, I mean, it's been pretty dry out here for a good while, I think, until very recently.
Yep.
And we've already started having quite a lot of rain. A reasonable forecast for a couple of days now, and then race week looks like storms and the worst of the rain at about 2:00 on Saturday afternoon.
The classic, yeah. So actually the forecast looks very similar to last year's forecast.
Okay.
We came into the week and it was very low predictability in the forecast, potentially showers, potentially rain, potentially thunderstorms, and then nothing really happened all week. It just kind of every day as the forecast got closer, the forecast got more accurate and it got better. And then it came to finals day and it rained exactly. They cancelled juniors, they tried to get finals off early. It didn't happen. We got rained out and that was that. So we'll see this week. It's lining up to be a similar story, which is a shame. But when you run a race in the Alps at the end of summer, late summer, autumn technically has already started. So it's always a risk. And we have had an insane heat wave we've had a dry spell now for almost 5 weeks and a heat wave for 3. You know, it was 36 degrees the last time I rode a road bike around here, average temperature. So it's been hot, it's been dry, it's been amazing, to be honest. But sadly, we've got a bicycle race in town, so it's not going to last, you know. I'm more concerned about, we're doing the pre-race for Champery again, but I'm more concerned about Champery in that valley.
Yeah.
Leger is relatively like kind of predictable and it's up there. You can see the rain coming, whereas Champery, for example, at the end of a valley and the storms will just appear.
Yeah, okay.
From
just hop over the back and
they'll just create themselves in the end of that valley. Whereas Leger, we don't have that problem. Once the forecast gets closer and it gets a bit more higher predictability, we can kind of operate off some level of certainty.
Yeah. So what would you rather have? Would you rather have a wet week all week, or would you rather deal with a bit of unpredictability?
I'd rather it was like predictably wet.
Yeah.
So if it was dry for a day or two of practice, wet for you know, from qualies onwards, or wet for all of race day, you can use your experience, you can prep, you can manage, you can create contingencies, you can, you know, plan a race run and plan the whole process to get the race run going and get the race run deployed. Last year's spectacle is a spectacle. You know, Amory did insane things at home, as the French often do in France.
Yeah.
Tane got pretty close to doing what she's wanted to do for a long time, which she kind of did in Poland, which was exactly what she wanted to do in Leger last year, was what she did in Poland, which was like just get after it in the wet and just smash it. So similar situation this year, you know, and all the overalls are super tight. Yeah. Really, really tight. You know, there's
still a lot to play for.
Yeah. The kind of top 2 in the men's, but almost top 3 with Loris in third place, and definitely top 3 in the women's. Yeah. All to play for, like one error, one mistake, or one massive issue in a wet finals. Like it could be this week in Leger. Could change the overall for anyone.
Could throw it all open.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about the history of this place, 10 World Cups, and you sent some geek stats ahead of us sitting down and recording. So of the 18 different winners, 12 have been French. Yeah, so like history would dictate that we're fairly likely to get a French winner.
Yep. If history operates in cycles, circles, and all the rest, and it's the probability of a French winner is pretty high. So yeah, we'll see what happens.